At this point, I would say Kawhi Leonard's contract extension is up for debate because even though, Kawhi spoke on it this weekend before they played their preseason game, which they lost. But, it's all good. It's preseason. They're trying to get their feet under them and trying to figure things out. And it's good to see both players, him and PG, on the floor, along with the rest of the guys. But looked like they were having fun as well. But either way, his contract extension is up for debate to me because a lot of people there's not really, it's probably like 50-50 drawn down the middle between fans, maybe even some of the front office people, possibly even, his teammates, if they had a say so in it, which they don't have a say so. But I'm pretty sure most of his teammates want him to come back. But I'm pretty sure some other teammates might be thinking in the back of their mind, like, between him and Paul George, like, if they're not going to be available, if we're always going to come up short due to injury, then this operation is not going to work. So there's no need for us to, try to come back ourselves, or really no need to extend those two star players. Just break it up, rebuild, send me somewhere else, or send such and such somewhere else. Maybe some players on the team think that. You never know. You never know what somebody's thinking unless you actually talk to them, maybe off the record or behind closed doors. So my point is, with Kawhi, I would always say, sign a Kawhi Leonard, re-sign him if he wants to come back, because, and I'm not just saying that because he's my favorite player. I'm saying it from the perspective of, he is a champion. He is a two-time champion. He is a player who can always give you an opportunity to win. When he's healthy, he is no doubt a bona fide superstar. He's no doubt top 2, top 3 player, to the best player in the world to me. But in my eyes, I would say, to be fair about it, he's a top 2, top 3 player when healthy, because he affects the game in so many ways and does so many things, on both ends of the floor. It's kind of crazy how good he really is, or how good he's become throughout the years, even though he didn't start this way entering the NBA. And that's what makes Kawhi and his situation so unique to me, because he didn't start out this way in the NBA. Now he's like a 27 to 30 point scorer, per night if he chooses to be. And he can play both ends of the floor, unlike any other player in the league. No other player in the league affects both ends of the floor the way he does. You can say a lot of people, you could talk any player you want, but no player has the abilities of the Claw. Not one. There's players that's close. There's players that play both ends of the floor, but not the way he can. He can play both ends of the floor and actually carry a team and win a championship. Whereas a lot of two-way players you look at, they play both ends of the floor very well, but they don't have the killer instinct or, the dominance that Kawhi has to dominate a game offensively and put a team on their back and win also. And he's the only player that I've seen lately or in the last several years that can do that. And see, with that type of background that he has, he always puts a team in contention of winning a championship. If he's on your roster, you have a chance of being a champion. You are a contender, and it's not many players in the league, because they're on your roster, you have a chance of winning a championship. You're in contender status, and that goes a long way. But at the same time, you also got to look at the availability. I always say your best ability is availability, and if you're not available, it doesn't matter how much talent you got. It doesn't matter how fast, how tall, how long, how much speed, how much strength. It doesn't matter what ability you have. No ability is better than availability. And when you look at Kawhi's availability since he's been on the Clippers, it's been kind of, shady, a little bit shaky, I should say. Because it's not really like he's played a lot of games to where, it can make a lot of fans and, upper management feel happy with the results that they've been getting from him in regards to him being on the floor. But you also got to look at it like that's a double-edged sword, because a lot of players get injured. It's a part of the game. You really can't, if you trade, hypothetically, if they traded Kawhi Leonard for another superstar, that superstar might get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it might be a re-aggravating injuries or injuries over and over. It could be the same possible thing. So, it's a part of the game. It's part of sports. Injuries happen. You have to deal with it, and you have to understand it. And you know what I'm saying? You have to swallow it, and you have to just, be mindful of it, because it's just nothing you could do. Now, you hate to see any player get hurt, but great players like Kawhi, superstar players, you definitely want to see them out there, because they bring in a lot of the cash they bring in a lot of revenue for the NBA, ratings, all that. So it's like, when you lose somebody like that, you're losing a lot. And that's the reason why I said I think that, it'll all work out. And, based upon, the reports and everything, Kawhi he said, we're on good terms. He spoke about it. He said that him and the Clippers were on good terms. There's no rushing into the situation. It was never a rush from the beginning when he came in 2019. He says all those things, and, he says we're in a good place. And that's good to hear if, you're a Kawhi Leonard fan and if you're a Clippers fan, because, really they're not going to win a championship without Kawhi Leonard or probably Paul George. Paul George is a major factor, too, because you got to have that help, because other teams are building super teams and all this other stuff. So, I mean, they need both Kawhi and PG. I mean, really, they do. So, I mean, it's tough. It's going to be tough to win a championship either way, but you got to have both of them there to at least give yourself an opportunity. And Clippers fans have been deprived of an opportunity to see this team put it all together and be healthy enough at the right time and go on a run at the right time, to prevail and move on to the NBA Finals and get there and see what happens when they get there. They came close, but Kawhi got hurt, against Utah a couple years ago, and PG and the crew, they got to the Phoenix Suns, and it was pretty much over with there. I thought, because the Phoenix just had overall they played better and they just beat the Clippers, but either way, getting close is one thing, but getting there and winning it's another. And that's something that they have to do. And I guarantee you the contract extension and all that, of course, that will cease and go away if the Clippers won a championship this year, because it would make everything seem a little bit more, open to the fact of where we can go with the contract situation, because we definitely want these guys coming back because they delivered a championship and all is well. So I hope it ends up in a championship this year for this team, because, the chit chat about any contract extension or anything like that might be going on behind closed doors, locker rooms, or within the media, it will go away, especially if the Clippers win a championship. So that's the way to cure everything. Winning cures everything. So Kawhi knows that better than anybody on that team. That's why he has multiple championships. That's why he's been to multiple NBA finals. You know what I'm saying? He's been to 3 NBA finals, or excuse me. Yeah, actually, he's been to 3. Yeah, been 3 NBA finals. They lost one against Miami, came back and they won one. And then he won one with Toronto. So, yeah, he's been to 3 NBA finals. So he knows exactly what it is, what it takes to get there multiple times, and how, how the route is, you know what I'm saying? And health is the most important issue. So hopefully his body holds up, and then the contract extension and all that will extend, I believe. And then, he can kind of just go from there, especially if they win a championship on top of it. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments and we'll talk about it.